Alright, what's going on, guys? Today we're going to be talking about Leroy. This is a character who a lot of people have a hard time fighting because his defensive tools just seem really oppressive. He has this parry, which can parry, I believe, literally any higher mid, with the exception of explosions. So with that, and just how he can get into his Hermit stance, and then this auto parries lows, and then he has the cane. He just has a lot of weird things and a lot of incredibly powerful defensive tools that make him really hard to fight, especially if you don't know all of his strings. Because he has a lot of strings where, oh, the third hit's a parry, and if you don't know that, you'll just press into it and get blown up. So yeah, we're gonna dive into what makes this guy work and how you can beat it. Now, in terms of Leroy's game plan, this isn't a very hard character. If you're playing online and ranked, basically all Leroy wants to do is use strings that you've never seen before, and just spam these, and do these lows that go into stance, and then, you know, use some of these stance options. It's kind of what you're going to expect, and then, you know, he has the mid cane, which is safe, and he has the back cane, which is a low instant tornado. He can use these once per round, and they're pretty fast. At 20 frames, this is unreactable, and the mid is safe, right? So he hits a lot of just relatively safe, just strong moves, and then he just has a lot of stuff that people don't really know what to do about because, you know, no one plays this character. His parry is one of the most annoying moves to play against the entire game, and not only does he have the back 2 parry, which is, you know, the universal, this is the Leroy button, he has a lot of strings that end in parries. You know, he has like 9 or 10 strings that all have a parry somewhere in the string. On top of that, he has one of the best homing moves in the entire game in back 3. This is +9 into stance. If this hits you, this is a heat meter, does 49 damage. Heat dash watch. Yeah, this is one of the best moves in the entire game. And if you play against a better Leroy, you will see him use this a lot because it is that insane. On top of that, he just has pretty decent tools. Down forward 3+4. This is a high instant tornado launcher that high crushes 18 frames, only -2 on block. A lot of people just don't know that. His punishment is also pretty decent too, though he does take a pretty big risk if he's wrong on the punish. So like, this is his 15 frame. If he's wrong, he's dead. If he finishes his 14 frame, he's dead. He should never finish that unless he's confirming it, because fishing with this is pretty psycho in my opinion. And then, you know, the highs are -2 and they jail. You can't duck this. This is actually 2 sets of highs. You can't duck if you get hit by the first one. So yeah, he's super simple, has really, really powerful defensive tools, and no one really knows what this guy does, so he can just kind of do strings. And like, if you're not ready for it, you're just gonna get blown up. Alright, so I'm gonna show off this next part with 2 different characters, but the first thing we're gonna talk about, and it's probably gonna be the most important part of this video, is Leroy's parry and how to beat it. Leroy's back 2 parry is probably one of the most frustrating moves to play against the entire game. It parries basically every high and mid. I think it only can't parry like Anna's mid gunshot. I think it parries literally everything else. Now, what does it do? So, it takes 5 frames to activate, and then once it's active for 10 frames. So once you press the button, it's active from frame 5 to frame 15, and then it has another like 15 to 20 frames where he's still recovering from whipping the parry. So just to illustrate exactly what I mean, if I do down 3 into down forward 1, he'll parry it. And then if I do corner circle back 1 into jab, he'll get a perfect parry. So that shows you the window of 5 to 15. Now, what that also means is if I can get like +6 somehow and then jab, then it's not, you know, you can't do anything about it. But more importantly, if I do something on 16 frames, he just gets blown up. So he can't do anything. Beyond that, as I talked about, this takes a long time to recover. So I have Leroy set to parry and then hold back. That's a punish. You can visually watch his hands come out in front of him and then punish it. Even with the 24 frame move like orbital. I even did that kind of late there. So it just goes to show how if you have like a hop kick or something, you can blow this up without even thinking about it. So yeah, this recovers extremely slowly, and it's active for about 10 frames. So because it's a parry, you can also grab it, and you can use lows, and you can't do anything about it. So those are options that you have. You can't really get a counter hit here. I don't believe you can counter hit his parry under any circumstances, but that's how you deal with it. You can use lows or throws or reversal breaks if your character has those. So like Fakramram could just blow this guy up. He doesn't even have to worry about the parry. If you ever think Leroy is going to parry and you're playing Fakramram, you just rip a jet kick and he dies every single time.
Get ready for the next battle.
Yeah. So if you're playing a character that has a very easy to access reversal break, then that's something that you can do. But in general, just waiting and being like pretty particular about your frames will go a long way. Oh, also, just since we're here with Fakramram, I can show a +6 into a jab. So that just shows you that he can't activate this on 4 frames. He needs 5 frames of leniency to actually do anything. Which is nice, because it means that if you have frame traps like that, where you can generate a +6 or a +7 or something and then do a move, it's actually pretty good for you. So a character like Jun is actually going to be not bad against Leroy, right? Because if we use Jun, we can use moves like Can to blow up his parry. He doesn't get a launch, but it's very difficult for Leroy to not get launched here. So Jun can do this, and if Leroy isn't holding back, he gets blown up. But also, Jun can do this. And then that's a really bad scenario to be in. You're +6 into a stance where you now have to hold the mix-up, right? So there are a lot of characters that have very simple and easy access to this. Lily's another character who, Lily, because she has her QCF 3/4, she actually has a pretty easy out to this too, where if you think he's going to do it, you can just, well, obviously his back against the wall because his move has no range. But if his back is against the wall, then you can do something like that. And even if his back isn't against the wall, just pull +8, +4 into back, right? So if you have access to +6, his parry gets way worse. And if you don't, then just check him with your lows and with your throws. So a character like King, if you want to do like plus frames in a giant swing, you'll blow up Leroy's a lot. It is very bad for him. The first strength that we're going to talk about with Leroy is that while he does have many very powerful tools, I think his biggest strength is that no one really knows what this character does. So on top of his powerful tools, we've already talked about back 3. This move is really good. I think this move is nuts, but I've never really seen anyone use it, so maybe I'm tripping, that's not actually good. But then he has moves like his back 1+2. The range is really bad, like disgustingly bad, as you can see. But this is one of those fabled 12-frame mids. So all of those mix-ups that we've talked about in past videos, where if you have a 12-frame mid, you avoid the whole mix-up. Not only does Leroy get to avoid the mix-up, this is a counter hit launcher. Yeah. So against characters where, you know, you can eliminate all counterplay if you have a 12-frame mid, but most characters don't. Not only does Leroy have the 12-frame mid, he has the best one for that use case of, you know, interrupting someone pressing. Now, it is my silent block, and as you can see, the range is pitiful. But it kind of doesn't matter, when a lot of the times he's using it, it's on stance offense. Let me show you what I mean. So I have Anna here, and when we talked about Anna, we talked about how her down forward 1-2 string, the way that you beat the follow-ups is if you have a 12 frame mid, just do that, it beats everything. Counter hit launched. 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 Oh, the throw, she can use the throw. The issue is Leroy's back 1+2 just breaks this if you're mashing back 1+2. Now, Anna does get this if you mash, and she gets this if you mash. But like, if she's going into stance and not finishing the string, you just blow her up by doing this every single time. Now, if you do the 2 jab, Leroy will trade here. So that's not the best scenario, but that's a trade where we take the same damage. And if I do literally anything else, I get counter hit launch. It's really not good that his 12 frame mid is a counter hit launch. Now, the only other thing to talk about with this move is that it is -10. So you do get a 10 frame punish if you have a good read on it, and its range is pretty pitiful. But, you know, that's what it is about this character. That is a very, very good move, and it's just, he just has so many of the moves like this that a lot of people, they just don't really know what they're supposed to do against him, which is pretty fair. You know, this is a character who has a lot of strings and such that, you know, you're not going to know what the counterplay is to. This is a mid-low. No one ever ducks this. 2-1, 2-1. This third hit is a strong parry. We're going to talk about that in the next section. But that's a strong parry. 1-2-1. This is a parry. This is a parry. He has so many really insane tools. And, you know, he has this move. It's +7 on block. A lot of people don't know that. Sidestep 3+4 is +3 on block into his stance. +3 is the same frame advantage he's getting from his punishment. So the same mix-up you have to hold after he punishes you, he just gets this for free every single time. And because previously his sidestep moves were a high and were a low, now you have to worry about this. Now his sidestep is a mix-up. Why is that bad? Well, this wall splats. Yeah, he has a lot of exceptionally powerful moves, and because no one really knows the counterplay to them and no one knows the frames on this character, kind of gets away with it. His 12 frame mid is -10, and it's a counter hit launcher. It's the best version of this, assuming your opponent is advancing into your moves. You know, his 15 frame launcher is down 4-2-1, 1+2. Most people don't know that's -18. Pretty good. This string, this is 2 sets of 2 highs. You can't duck this if you block the first set. You have to hold this, and it's only -2 on block. Now, if any of these hit, he can confirm this into a heat engager, which is -17, which again, he should never be doing that unless he's confirming it, but that's really good. And on top of that, this character has some of the most insane chip damage in the entire game, especially if you're willing to just sit there and block, which in a lot of times you kind of don't have a choice, but this is a character who you'll get blown up really fast by just blocking. Right? Like, if you're willing to just block, you just took 100 damage with most of it being chip. That's insane, you know? And this used to be more. This used to basically kill you. Obviously, this was all highs, so you can duck this. But At +7, ducking character is pretty scary when, you know, there's a lot of characters with relatively safe launching mids. He has an orbital, by the way, and it's 23 frames. It's 1 frame faster than Brian's. Like, he has good stuff. This character has a lot of really good buttons, and because no one knows what he does, he just gets to kind of press him, and that's really good. Not only does he have this orbital, he has 2 orbitals, and this one's slower, but it's 0 on block. Yeah, this character just has a lot of really good moves. But I think the fact that no one really knows what he does, and on top of that, he has really good defensive utility, means that most people, if Leroy knows what your character does, you're just going to get washed every time. For the next pro, we'll talk about his punishment. It's not amazing, but it's pretty good. On 10 frames, he has 1, 2, 4. This is 25 damage into Hermit at +3. On 12 frames, he has 2, 2. +7 in the neutral. Notably doesn't wall spot, which is a pretty big downside. On 14, he has 1 + 2, 1 + 2, 1. 38 damage heat engager. Also, this is confirmable. So if we talked about this earlier, but if he does these two and you block them, it's only -2 and it's a jailing high. You can't duck it after the first set. And on 15, he has down forward 2, 1 + 2. Notably about the 1 + 2 14 frame punish, this is guaranteed follow-up. However, if he gets it off of back 3, this is a launcher. I don't know why those are different. It seems like an oversight, but yeah, pretty good move. For his crouching punishment, he has a normal while standing 4, 11 frames. On 13, he has while standing 1, 4, 30 damage, +3 in the Hermit. And on 15, he has while standing 2, which is a launcher. Now, while standing 3 does look like an insane while standing punishment. This is not guaranteed, even though practice mode says it. That's not guaranteed. It is guaranteed on counter, in which case this is like a decent chunk of damage, 14. But yeah, that is not guaranteed, so just be aware of that. But yeah, decent punishment. The next big strength we're going to talk about is just the sheer number of parries this guy has. Leroy has a lot of parries. He has down back 1 + 2. The third hit of 1, 2, 1 is a parry. It's really hard to get this to work in practice mode. I haven't actually got into parry. It only ever counter hits here. But this is a parry. So that's a parry. His 2, 1, 2, 1. The third hit's a parry. His down forward 1, 1 + 2, 2. That last hit's a parry. Yeah, he has a lot of parries. He also has back 2. He also has Hermit 1. That's also a parry. I'm sure there's more that I'm missing. I forgot, but you know, I've been going through the move list and just picking out all the ones I remember. He has a lot of parries, so if Leroy has a very good read on your timing, it's gonna feel like it's impossible to press into this guy because not only does he have a lot of parries, but most of them are strong parries. So they'll absorb anything, and then he gets a pretty big punish for it. The last pro we're going to talk about for Leroy is his ease of use. This is a character who it's very easy for him to enact his game plan, both from a strategic sense and from a mechanical sense. The next character we're going to talk about is Xiao Yu, and she's a character who, like, her game plan is simple, but actually pressing the buttons you need to when you need to press them is hard. Leroy is not like that. This is a character who, you just do this, +6 or +7, and now you have to deal with this. +9, here is a mix-up. +5, here's a mix-up. +8, here's a mix-up. +3 on block, +8 on hit, here's a mix-up. It's kind of just that easy. Especially because he has so many buttons out of his Hermit stance. He literally has like 15 options on this, right? He has this 1 option, he has 2, he has a 3 option, he has a 4 option, he has a forward 1 option, he has a forward 4 option, he has a back 1, I believe, He has a back 3-2, which is a hell sweep. He has up forward 1. He has up forward 2, up forward 3, up forward 4, up forward 3 plus 4. There might be a couple that I missed. Because he has so many options out of this essentially free to access stance, it becomes very difficult to actually pressure this character, and becomes very difficult to defend, because just whenever he wants, mix up, you have to hold it. Mix up, you have to hold it. Mix up, you have to hold it. Oh, actually, you got hit. Dead. It is exceedingly simple to run this character's mix-ups, and it's very rewarding for him to do so. Even if they aren't like the strongest mix-ups ever, we're not talking about Asuka's like wall running 1/1+2 versus her forward 1/1+2. It's not like severely plus homing high versus kind of plus mid. It's not that, but these are just not fun buttons to press against. And like, again, this is all real. You just like have to hold this. I've never played Leroy before. I played this against my friend and just obliterated him, who's Tekken King, because he doesn't know what Leroy does, and it turns out it's actually just this easy to play Leroy. You just do this, and like, this is really hard to defend against. So the first thing we're going to talk about is Leroy's, well, lack of safety, especially with his lows. This is a character who a lot of his lows are very severely punishable, especially if you're ready for them, and that the counterplay to them is pretty not good for Mr. Leroy. So this move is -8, and it goes into stance. Technically, if Leroy drops out of stance, this is a -13, because it takes 5 frames to come out of stance. However, he can parry even 11 frame while standing punishes. So that's not good. The counterplay is, because Leroy is basically always going to do this, you can kind of just do that, and now it's launch punishable. So if you ever block this, see what he does. Like, just rip the while standing 4-4. If he parries that literally once, sidewalk left and launch him. Which again, we'll talk about that in his tracking, but yeah. So that's how you deal with that low. But then besides that, a lot of Leroy players use this. This is -14. Jin can launch that. Also, you can just duck this. You can low parry it. You know, you have a lot of options here. That's not good. He has his down 3-2. Now, this is technically a -13, but it's a low high, so it's launch. He has his down 4-4. The first hit is -12. Leroy players usually don't just do the first hit, they usually do the mid. The mid is -11, and it does not jail. So if they do the low and you don't block it, and then they do the mid, they're just -11. So you can just rip, you know, a jab punish here, and there's nothing he can do about it. And if you think that he's going to rip the punch parry, again, you sidewalk in just to launch it. Beyond that, this is his high crush low, -15. This character takes a lot of risks whenever he tries to get you to duck, with basically all of his lows being at least -13, or if he tries to take his turn back after you blocking the low, he gets launched. So that's basically it for his low stuff. His lows are very unsafe in general. But even beyond that, if Leroy is wrong with some of his punishes, that's -18. That's -17. Even some of his strings, this ender is -13. This is -6, but you can step this last hit. Or you can duck it, because it's a high, right? So, yeah, he has a lot of strings like that, where it's not the best scenario for him to be. So yeah, again, at the end of this, you'll see that there's a lot of counterplay to be had here, but in general, Leroy takes a lot of risks trying to open you up with his lows, especially, but also if he's just gonna sit in your face and do strings, he's gonna blow himself up for it. The only other real weakness we're going to talk about today is Leroy's tracking. Now, in general, this isn't really a character that like generates plus frames into neutral. It's not really what he does. Most of the time, if he has plus frames, it's directly into stance or just auto transitions. So the only real scenario we're going to talk about is off of like +4, which he gets off of the side step 4. A lot of this is going to carry over to the tracking and Hermit stance, which, you know, left is the weak side to that stance. But in general, off of +4, jab is going to be whiffing. Down 4 to 1 whiffs. Down 4 to 1+2 whiffs. Now, the first hit does clip you, but you're +23 in his back, so not, you know, it's not good. Down back 4 whiffs. Up forward 1 whiffs. Up forward 2 whiffs. Up forward 3 whiffs. Up forward 4 whiffs. Down 2 4 whiffs. This string isn't very good in general, but it does whiff. Down back 3 whiffs. And or down back 1 whiffs rather. And down forward 3 whiffs. So yeah, that's a lot of stuff. It's not his whole kit, it's a lot of stuff. Now 4-4-2-2 will hit you, which is a launcher. Side step right 1+2 will hit you. Notably, side step left 1+2 will not hit you. Side step right 4 will hit you. Side step left 4 will not hit you. So again, something to keep in mind. And 3-3 will hit you. And because the mid connects, you actually can't duck the second hit, so this is just a free low poke. And down 4-4. As well as down by 3. So he has a lot of moves that hit you, but he has way more that miss you. It's like 75% of his kit is going to miss you after a sidewalk left on +4. So yeah, it's pretty good. Now, keep in mind, back 3 is a god button. This has really long range. This is hit from range 3. So this hits from like a range 2.9. And is +9 on block, and everything afterwards is homing because, you know, +9 is after the magic number, which is +8. So if he's overusing moves like this, then obviously, you know, you want to be a little bit more careful with your sidewalking. But in general, sidewalk left is going to be very good against this character. Now let's get into Hermit stance. This is Leroy's only stance, and it is pretty good. Mostly because of the sheer amount of options it has, not necessarily that the stance itself is insane, but just there's a lot to do here. So knowing what to do against everything is pretty rough. So what does Leroy have to get into stance? Now he can transition plus on block with back 3 and with side step 3, 3+4. Those are the only ways he can transition on block. Otherwise, he transitions on hit, or he transitions pretty minus, right? So he can also transition with 4-4-4. This is +9 on hit, -4 on block. He can transition with down back 3. This is -8 on block, +5 on hit. He can transition with a down forward 4, -6 on block, +6 on hit. And then these next 5 will transition at +3 on hit and -9 on block. He has 1, 2, 4. He has forward 2, 3, 4. He has down forward 1, 4. He has while standing 1, 4. And he has, and yeah, so all those transition at +3 on hit, -9 on block. And then down 4, 4. This will transition at +1 on hit and -11. So yeah, that is how he transitions. Notably, Leroy cannot block in this stance, but he does auto parry lows in this stance. So be aware of that. Now, in terms of his options, he has the 1-2 option. This second hit is a high, so you can duck the second hit. If you think Leroy is if you think he's gonna rip the whole thing, then, you know, you just duck the second hit, of course. But Leroy's in general will probably only use the first hit because the first hit's a parry. So in general, you may never actually see this second hit. Ducking after is pretty good, but you can also just jab punish after, because again, there shouldn't be a reason for Leroy to finish this if he's expecting you to press. Now, he also has, that's also a 24 frame startup, but it doesn't matter because it's a parry. He has his 2-3. This is a high string. Does not jail, -9 on block, but you can launch this. 12 frame startup. He has 3-4. This is a jailing low mid. If you get hit by the low, you cannot block this. You can't block the mid round. If you block the low, you need to stand up in time to block the mid. If you do, it is a -15 on block, which is launch punishable. He has 4 1+2. The 4 is safe, and it's 11 frame startup. It's very fast. At -7, his turn is kind of over. He will probably press the parry, but which, you know, again, you can sidewalk left. We talked about that earlier. But yeah, his turn is 100% old. If you think he's going to press the parry here, I would just grab if he ever does one of these. That would be my personal bet. Alternatively, you can finish the string, and yeah, it's -14, and it's also a mid. Next, he has forward 1. This is a 0 on block high. Now, he is literally hitting you in your chest, but this is a high, so don't be deceived by the animation. That's a high. 15 frames. This is homing. You cannot step this to either side. Forward 4 is a 0 on block orbital. This will launch you. That is a launcher. Back 1, just a regular mid, +4 on block. So yeah, that's the other way he gets +4. Besides that, he has back 3-2. This is a health sweep that wall breaks. And he has a back 4, which is a homing low. This low is -13 on block. Besides that, he also gets access to all of his up forward moves. So up forward 1, up forward 2, up forward 3, up forward 4, and up forward 3+4, 1+2. He gets access to all of these from this stance as well. So it is quite a few options that he has from this. Up forward 3+4 also wall splats. So that is something to think about. Up forward 2 will wall splat, and it's +1 on block. Up forward 3 will wall splat, and it's -8 on block. He has a lot of wall splatting moves. Yeah, and these also low crush. So this like little jump here, this jumps over lows. And yeah, this mid will also wall splat, -13. So yeah, these moves are pretty annoying in all honesty. Additionally, he can back 2, which is his universal parry. Yeah, auto low parries, we already said that, and he can sidestep out of stance. Very involved stance. So we switched stages because one of his moves has like really weird tracking when it comes to the wall. I don't know if it's a bug or not, but it's just how things are. Now on +8, you just have to hold it because everything is homing on +8. So if you block this, if you take this, and if you get hit by this, you just need to chill. That's what it is. Besides that, the highest reasonable frame advantage that he can get, where you can still do some type of counterplay, is +6. Off of +6, the 1 option whiffs, forward 4 whiffs, back 1 whiffs, and up forward 1, 2, 3, and 4 whiffs. So that's not too many options. At +5, the 3 option whiffs, the first couple of hits of the 1+2 string whiffs, notably this last hit is it's -17. So if you think that Leroy is going to finish it, you can just block. Otherwise, you can just press on these rule whiffing. Honestly, you should just press after like recognizing that these are whiffs, but that's besides the point. So yeah, the 3-4 option whiffs, Last couple of hits of the 1+, or the first couple of hits of the 1+2 option whips, and the second hit of the 3+4 string whips. Now, if you notice, this string in general, you can sidewalk to the left. So if you get hit by this, you just want to keep walking left. It's hard to get Jin to actually do it, but yeah, you just keep walking left and then you can watch them. So yeah, that is how the tracking works. Everything else is unfortunately homing, meaning that even off a +5, the forward 1's homing, the standing 4 option is homing, or you know, the forward stance option is homing, and the back 4 is like a true homing button. The only exception is if your back is against the wall, forward 1 is not homing. I don't know why this is the case, but yeah, it's not. Well, it doesn't track to the left anymore. It might still track to the right. Yeah, so it still tracks to the right, but this does not track to the left anymore if your back is against the wall. So yeah, if your back is against the wall, sidewalk left has quite a bit of upside. If your back is not against the wall, then sidewalking is a little rough because he has 3 basically homing options. Now, you do want to see what buttons he's going to press, because again, depending on the options of what he presses, it's, you know, not the best scenario. For instance, like if he does this, you can't even really sidewalk left after blocking this. Like this, again, this is basically all homing. So yeah, sidewalk left is good here, but it's not amazing. Instead, you kind of just want to see what Leroy's tendencies are. Generally speaking, his high payoff options are going to be more walkable, but then like his hell sweep will just blow you up. So like that's it's not the best scenario. You can walk the hell sweep to the other side, but if you would hard read that, I would just duck, in my opinion. So that's what I would say. Now, he does have a lot of highs, so ducking is decent punishment here. So again, the forward 1, this is a high. Up forward 1's a high. 2-3 is a high. And the second hit of the 1-2 string is a high. So ducking isn't bad, but yeah, you just want to be careful with this stance in general and just kind of see what his options are. What I would say is you can duck, you can sidewalk. If he ever does this, immediately grab. If he does an orbital here, then you got. I would always grab you. But that's just me. All right, so now we're just gonna get into his strings. He has a lot of strings, but he doesn't really have a ton of option selects, which is nice. So yeah, usually his strings only have one other thing that comes after them, which makes it a lot easier to defend against. So first, forward 2-2. This second hit is homing. You cannot step this hit to either side. The first hit is -11. The second hit is -15. Very, very simple. Down 2-4. This is a low that does not jail. Both hits are -13. You can get hit by the first one and then a low parry, or just duck the second. Pretty straightforward. He has 3-3. This is a mid-low string. If you block the mid, you can low parry the low, or just crouch if you have a really good 14 frame punish. Very, very good. He has 4-4-4. This is a mid-high heat engager. Duck the second hit and launch. Now, he does have a couple of strings that are real mix-ups. So he has his 1 series. Out of this, he has 1-1, 1+2-1. Last hit is -16, which is not good. This is a high, mid. So after this mid, you can duck the rapid punches and then launch. He also has 1-2. This is a high. He has 1-2-1, which is a high into a strong parry. So be very careful about trying to punish that. He has 1-2-3. which is a high. And he has 1, 2, 4, which is 10 frame punish and a -9 on block. You get a lot from ducking after the 1, 2. Because he will either do this high, which you can launch, or he'll do this parry, and you can wait until the parry's over and then launch. So you get a lot of equity from just ducking there. Alternatively, if he does the 1 string, the 1-1 string, you just duck after the mid, and then you get to launch the rapid punches. Next, we have his down forward 1 series. There's only 2 options here. His down forward 1-4, -9 on block into Hermit. If he tries to come out of this stance, then it's -13 technically. Otherwise, it's -9 in stance. He can parry, so be very, very careful about your punish. If you try to do a 13 frame punish, he will blow you up for it. Besides that, he has down forward 1 + 2, 2. His last hit is a parry, and the second hit is highs. So there isn't like ultra easy counterplay here. You kind of just have to block, but it's up to you. If you do duck here, you do need to be very quick on your punish, otherwise you will get hit by this parry, so just be careful with that. The last string we're going to talk about is his down forward 3, 1 + 2 string. This string is insane. Despite being a mid-high mid, you cannot duck and launch this second hit because the last hit comes out so fast. To show you what I mean, I'm going to have Jin crouch jab after getting hit by the first hit. Jin will get counter hit for trying to crouch jab the high in this string. You cannot duck this second hit and launch. It is not possible. There may be something that like maybe Zhao Yu can AOP crouch or something like that might be a thing, but yeah, it's really bad. There is nothing that you can do here. If he finishes it, then it's -13. But because you can't crouch this, he never has to finish it, which means that down forward 3-1 is just a 0 block string. And if down forward 3-1 ever counter hits you, then the follow-up is guaranteed. So that's all guaranteed. And a wall splats. Yeah, so you want to be very, very careful with this string. I haven't paid attention to enough Leroy players. I haven't played against that many recently, so I can't tell you how often they use this. But this is like super real, that they can just fish with this over and over again, because eventually you'll say, oh, that's a mid high wall splat, take 1,000,000 damage. Yeah, insanely powerful string in my opinion. Alright, so that is going to about wrap it up for Leroy. I think a lot of his strength comes from the fact that no one knows what this character really does, but don't get it twisted. This character has some brutal moves. This is probably the best homing move in the game. If it's not the best homing move in the game, it's the second best behind ours is Dynamic Entry 3. This move is incredible. That's an insane move. Obviously, his parry is really, really insane as well. His down forward 3+4, I think this move is really good. This string is really nuts in my opinion, because you can't duck the second hit despite it being a mid-high if he finishes it. Really, really good stuff. And then his stance just has a lot of buttons. And on top of that, he has a lot of parries in his kit. So if you're ever impatient against his character and try to take your turn back, you'll just get blown up over and over and over again. If Leroy knows your character better than you know Leroy, you should lose. And that's a really scary position to be in. I don't know how good this character is compared to a lot of the other ones, but I don't know if a character can be considered a low tier when they have a move like this. This is an unbelievable move. There's just nothing else to say. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.